Hello and welcome everybody to Heart of the Matter, a broadcast series where survivors come on and share their stories, inspiring us to live the healthiest lives we can. I want to remind everyone that heart disease is the #1 killer of women, taking the lives of 1 in 4. I give you this statistic because my guest today is a heart disease survivor. I'm so thrilled to have as my guest my friend and heart sister, Jody Knack. Jody is
Hi.
married. Jody's married and has been married for 34 years. She's a mother of 3 daughters and a grandma to 5 granddaughters. And she's one of my fortunate friends that has 3 homes to live in throughout the year. One in Fort Myers, Florida, one in Aurora, Illinois, and the last one in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Her hobbies are walking, reading, bargain shopping, do-it-yourself home projects, decorating, and travel. My kind of gal. Her passion for the last 17 years has been volunteering for Women Heart as a champion, a support group leader, and district leader for Illinois and Wisconsin. If that weren't enough, Jody followed her passion and created a Facebook group for Women Heart patients called We Are Heart Sisters. And the last time I looked, you have over 900 members. It's very impressive. Won't you
Thank you.
help me welcome Jody? Hi, Jody. Welcome.
Hi, Susan. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm going to ask you a few questions in a little bit, but I'd love it if you'd start by telling us your heart story first. Would you mind?
No, I don't mind at all. Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. I first off would like to thank Susan for the opportunity to share my story about misdiagnosis and the journey that I have been on for the past 21 years. I was a healthy 44-year-old woman with a husband, 3 children, and a full-time job. And I began experiencing some subtle symptoms, which included chest pressure, pain in my jaw, and the feeling that I wasn't swallowing correctly in my throat, arm pain, and extreme fatigue. I went to see a total of 3 cardiologists and 1 gastroenterologist who all dismissed it as anxiety, acid reflux. And when I inquired if this could be anything to do with my heart, I was told I was much too young for it to be my heart. I was 44. Fast forward 6 weeks later, on February 21st, 2000, my symptoms became so bad and included vomiting and sweating, along with the same pains. And I woke my husband up who was sleeping because he had worked nights, and insisted he take me to the ER. Arriving at the ER for the next 6 hours, I was examined and treated for what they concluded was a gallbladder attack. When they finally got around to performing an EKG, then it was determined that I was in the midst of a massive heart attack. This hospital, unbelievable, was not equipped to treat me. They didn't even have a cath lab. So I was transferred by ambulance to a nearby big medical center for a cardiac cath. And that determined that I was 99% occluded in my main artery of my heart, my LAD. When I don't remember much from there on. When I awakened, the very next morning, I was met by a team of cardiologists standing at my bedside and telling me that I had scared the entire team that the night before, and then they went on to explain that I had a full blockage in the main artery, which they were able to stent. But unfortunately, I did suffer a massive heart attack, and they were unsure of how much heart damage I had sustained. My husband and my daughters and myself, we were all in total shock. I kept telling the doctors that I had been dismissed leading up to all this. Nobody was hearing what I had to say. I seemed to feel they were ignoring. And their reply was that this is not often seen in younger women, especially one my age. So my life drastically changed that moment on, and it was only the beginning of my heart journey. I found myself taking medications, lots of follow-up doctor appointments, limiting my activities, feeling afraid, and mourning the loss of my former self. Friends and family treated you differently, and I struggled to regain my role as a busy wife and mom. As the years went by, my damaged heart muscle did not regain its normal function. And in 2008, I had a pacemaker defibrillator implanted in my chest wall. I had to have another surgery in 2016 to have a replacement generator. Then in 2017, I developed AFib and congestive heart failure. So I went from taking 3 medications for my heart to now taking 6. So I feel if I had been taken seriously, not disregarded as being too young, my story would be really different. The awareness didn't seem to be there on women and heart disease back in 2000. It's made improvements, but I still don't believe it's where it should be. Despite all this, my story is not over. The doctors say I'm very determined and feisty, and it's a good thing. And I have learned to live and thrive with my diagnosis. I stay active. I keep all my appointments. I take all my meds. But I do try to live life to the fullest and find humor in everyday things. It seems to really get me through. The young daughters who at the time in 2000, were 12, 17, and 21, are now all married. And I've gotten to see that. And I've gotten to see my 5 granddaughters be born. So I continue my fight for all of them each day, for all those kids. So things have improved, I would think, over the 20 years, but there is a continuing need for education, information, and increased awareness among all women. Women and men present differently.
That's so true.
But heart disease still remains our #1 killer for all.
That's so right.
I attended training, like you said, at Mayo Clinic in 2003 and became a women heart champion. I have run a monthly support group for the past 16 years in my hometown. And I enjoy my Facebook group helping women from all over. I never want other women to go through what I went through. I share my story with anybody who will listen,
Right.
and for not only myself, my daughters, my granddaughters, and everyone I meet. So that sums up, pretty
Thank
much
you.
sums up my story. Thank you.
Oh, Jody, I think in all my heart friends and interviews that I've done, um, you've you've got that 20 years under your belt. My gosh, you're the longest. Not that it's a competition, but oh my. So, I have a question that's not on my normal
Sure.
list. So, how are your daughters? Are they getting checked because there's some genetics going on there?
Yes. Well, my oldest daughter is 42, and a year ago she was diagnosed with AFib.
Okay.
And as a mom living with heart disease, that was the worst phone call.
Yeah.
When Jenny called and told me that she had been feeling these different flutters and her heart racing, and I said, Jen, get to a cardiologist.
So true.
And she did, and now she's on meds. And I just felt horrible,
But
but yet,
it's not your fault. But because of the awareness that you're talking about, because you have 3 daughters and 5 granddaughters, at least they all know that they can have confidence going throughout their doctor life,
right?
checking that box that, yes, heart disease is in my family. So my
Well,
other
my
question.
daughter, oh, I'm sorry, but my daughter said, Mom, I really didn't like the man that I was referred to go to, the cardiologist. I don't feel he listened. I said, it's time to move on.
Right,
And maybe, Jen, you find a woman or somebody who will listen.
that's so true. That's
And
really good advice. Okay.
yes,
All right. Well, okay, let me ask you a few questions about
sure.
your episode 20 years ago. Did you have any emotions around that time? I mean, you told us how you felt, but from the time that it happened and afterward, I know you were grieving your other self, but tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about your emotional roller coaster.
Well, you feared every little thing from that next day on, every little ache or pain. You thought, am I aware of, what did I just feel? Should I say something? My awareness was heightened, um, to not let anything slip through the cracks again. Um, and every little thing you thought, am I not feeling well today? Is this something that's coming on? It was a fear, that when's the next shoe going to drop? And then you read the statistics that 47% of the women will will die during that first year after the heart attack that I had. And so all you want to do is get to that 1 year anniversary. You live for each month, and okay, I survived another month. Now I'm coming up on my year. Phew.
You're so right, because those anniversaries come and go. You've got several under your belt, and that's good.
Yes,
But that
yes.
fear is something that's so important to mention. And I like to talk about emotions so that the viewers can hear
Mm-hmm.
what we all say, because it's so natural, it's so normal to have them. And as women, we're going, why am I feeling this way? And
Oh,
the anger and the fear and the grief and the gratitude, everything that
mm-hmm.
happens. So thank you for sharing
Yes,
that.
you're
Did you
welcome.
did you make lifestyle changes? You mentioned that you are diligent about your doctor's appointments and your medications, but tell me about any lifestyle changes you might have made.
Well, I was a 28-year smoker, and having 8 days in the hospital, they advised me that if I wanted to see my 45th birthday, that I would no longer put a cigarette to my lips, and that is all I needed to hear. Um, And the 8 days in the hospital really helped me get over the worst hurdle of the nicotine withdrawal. And I gave that up and felt so much better. You used them as a crutch and you thought they calmed you down, and they did probably just the opposite. And then I made sure I started taking care of me, because all I ever did was take care of them. And it was time to take a pause and start taking care of me.
You're so spot on, Jody. That's a wonderful message. Thank you for saying that, because we women are just like that. It's our nature to take care of everyone else and not ourselves. So I'm glad that you did that, and congratulations on quitting smoking. So my last question to you is this: what advice would you give us women about heart disease?
Heart disease doesn't care what age you are. Doesn't care if you're black, brown, orange, striped. It makes no difference. It strikes at any age. For them to dismiss and say, like, there's such an age category, there's not. Doctors need to be aware of this. Nurses need to be aware of this. Women need to be aware of this. And you have to make sure that somebody's listening. When you're talking, usually your first point of contact at any appointment is your nurse first, who leads you into the room, wants to know why you're there. She or he better be listening to take notes. And then the doctor needs to sit there and hear what you have to say. Because I'm a firm believer that if you are able to tell what's going on and somebody is truly listening, you're diagnosing yourself. And you're really helping that doctor. He doesn't know you.
Right.
So you have to be heard. And if you don't feel like you're heard, it's time to change doctors. Or it's time to start, or it's time to start screaming and raise your voice and be heard.
Right. That's excellent advice, Jody. Thank you so much, because you speak from experience, that's for sure.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your story and your insights and everything that's happened and your advice to us. And so I'm going to sign off now and say goodbye to our audience. But if you stay put, I can talk to you afterwards. So thank you, everyone, for coming on. All right. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you.